Can you imagine selling $450 million worth of real estate in 1 year? That's about 1,500 transactions. You're about to meet the number one agent in the fastest growing brokerage in the world right now. Stay right where you are. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. All right, everybody, welcome to Cliff's Notes. We're coming at you live from Lincoln Center in Dallas, Texas, the corner of LBJ Freeway and the Tollway. My co-host C3, how you doing this morning?
Man,
good
doing
to see
great.
You. Yeah, man, you look sharp. Thank you. He's rocking the pocket square today, isn't he? And in the back of the house, the man behind the curtain pulling all the levers, Travis, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I noticed the pocket square from C3 too. I said he was a little sharper today, man.
Man, I'll tell you, he is. He's setting a trend over here.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So I got to ask you before we get into the show here, what's the line on the Patriots Cowboys game this weekend?
So I'm taking. This is going to be breaking news. I'm taking the Cowboys by about 30.
Did you hear that? Breaking news. You heard it first right here on Cliff's Notes.
Yes,
Cowboys
sir.
by 30
yes, sir.
this weekend over the Patriots, the presidents, whoever they are. What's that team called? Where are they from?
They don't have a name at this point.
They don't have it. They're going to start wearing grocery bags
there
over
you
their heads.
go.
New Orleans, right? There you go. No names. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, as Chip would say, we're going to bring on our guest. I'm so excited today to have the number one agent in EXP with us, Andrew Franklin. Let's bring Andrew in all the way down in Houston, Texas. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Hey, good, fellas. Thanks for having me on. I love chatting with the father-son powerhouse team.
Well, father-son, that's in your DNA, my friend. I mean, you guys have how far does real estate go back in your family, Andrew?
Yeah, so my dad tells a story that he got laid off from a job, decided when I think my mom was pregnant with my sister, or just had my sister, and he said he decided to give real estate a try, got licensed. And so I think that's going on 36, 37 years since he's got licensed, and he's a broker. My mom's a broker. My sister owns the company with me and another person. And so it goes deep in our family.
Wow, that's amazing. That's the deepest real estate family I've heard of in a long time. That's for sure. Well, I've got my son, sister's licensed. My wife is licensed. We're trying to catch up with you. So hopefully we'll learn something from you today. I'm really excited because our audience out there has probably never even thought it was possible to sell $450 million worth of real estate in 1 year. And we're going to unpack that for you here in just a little bit. But Andrew, what I'd like to do is this is a show where we're real, and I think what separates us from a lot of the shows out there is we really want to know about the person behind the machine. And so let's take a little step back here, and if you would you just kind of introduce yourself to our audience and take them back? What was obviously your parents are in real estate, but what were you doing before you got into this crazy business?
Yeah, so I graduated high school in 2004. Really growing up, my dad sort of encouraged me to do something outside of real estate. And so when I went to college, it really wasn't on my radar. I went to college to play basketball at a school in Virginia called Washington and Lee. And very early on in college, I decided I wanted to work in finance. So graduated in 2008. Great time to go into finance on Wall Street, but had a couple job offers, went out to San Francisco and was doing mergers and acquisitions in San Francisco, and then moved to our New York office, and then finished my investment banking career and about the 6th year in Dallas. And about 5 years ago is when I got my real estate license.
So 5 years ago, you've been in the business 5 years. You're running a hugely successful team down in Houston. What was the transition like for you to go from investment banking to the chaos of real estate?
With what I was doing, there was a lot of similarities just on a whole nother level. So we were, instead of selling houses and advising people on purchases, um, we were selling companies. So middle market investment banking, where we're selling 50, $100 million companies. And so the process is a lot more truncated in the real estate side, but there was a lot of similarities. And I grew up in the business. Most of my conversations with my dad were business related, not real estate. So I did have to learn a lot very early on, but the transition was fine. I had one of the best, if not one of the best mentors out there. And so I didn't really have any formal training in real estate. I just picked up the phone and asked my dad or mom or sister when I had a question. And that's sort of how I learned.
Okay, well, not all of us get the benefit of having that sort of help. When we get into the business, when we get into real estate, what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome? Maybe not just in real estate, but take us back. What is it that really made you who you are, Andrew?
Well, really, it was my close knit family has made me who I am. My dad and mom and sister, uh, they instilled so much of work ethic and playing sports growing up. Really, sort of taught me how to be a part of the team, and really those are the most important things that made me who I am. Is my family, how close we were, as well as the athletics background. I think is a big reason why I'm working like I work now, and why we have such a close knit team now at both companies I run. And so that background really made me realize what was important.
Okay, and so I would assume that probably plays a little part when you're looking for people for your team. Is I mean, are you still what do you look for when you're looking for team members?
Yeah, so we're a little bit different on that. We don't really post or post job ads when we're looking for team members. Most all we I think we have 18 agents now, and almost everyone was a referral from someone we trusted or someone we already knew. We have past clients, wives on our team. We have um, friends on our team, other family members. We have two husband and wives teams on our team, all four are agents. And so for us, that culture and that fit is super important. A lot of people, joke and say, don't hire family. And we take the exact opposite approach. And really, it's because we know the character, we know the culture. So we have now we have 30 total people on the team, and there are mother daughters on the team. There's ex-wives on the team, and so there's all sorts of family members on our team, and I think it's a big part on who we are. So we treat hiring and who we're looking for a little bit different than most.
Okay, so you've got ex-spouses working together on your team. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, we do. I won't get into who that is, but we do indeed.
Okay, you've got something so special. After the show, I want to get with you. We're going to figure out what it is, put it in a bottle, and sell the hell out of it. Okay, that is amazing. I can't
Right.
even
Yeah.
imagine that.
No, not at all.
Did you have a
And we
question?
joke and we jo-
Go ahead.
Yeah, and we joke about it, but it really sort of comes out in our customer service and how hard people are willing to work. And so I like to joke that we just know the family members and friends not to bring on the team. And so it's worked out well. We own a title company. We have the same sort of philosophy there. We have mother daughters out in that business as well, and it sort of comes through with who we are.
Yeah, that's awesome, Andrew. So when these agents are coming on your team and you're selective with them, what does that first couple months look like? What does the 30-day mark in your team look like for newer agents?
Yeah, so it sort of transitioned for us. When we were at Remax for 32 years, there was no real training. And so anytime a brand new agent came and wanted to join our team, we completely shied away from that just because we didn't have any formal training ourselves. Our brokers didn't offer anything. When we made the switch to EXP about 14 months ago, having 50, 60 hours of live training, we started to bring on newer agents because we knew we could get up to speed. And so what we like at 50 days is if they're an agent that has a lot of experience really in the XP culture and get them trained that way. And so we do a lot of hands-on stuff. They attend appointments with us. They attend open houses. And so they see how we like to do things. But we want to get them trained as quick as possible. And if the agent is experienced, then we don't really have a true 0 to 90-day program for them because they're already selling real estate. They might learn a couple things with us on how we do stuff, how we do our builder programs, but that first 0 to 90 days, we really get them entrenched in the EXP training if it's a brand new agent.
This is interesting. So you guys you were 32 years at Remax.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, so my dad got licensed, started his career at Century 21 about 3 years. Back in the 80s, he went to Remax just because Remax had a better split. Back in the day, Century 21 was a 50-50 the broker kept 50% with no cap, believe it or not, back then. And so Remax came along, no one knew him back then, and came along and had a 95-5 left for that reason alone and owned a franchise at one point. And then the last 10 years, we were just a team within that franchise. But yeah, we were there 32 years until September of last year.
Wow, your dad must have been pretty dug in. I mean, he must have, I bet you guys had Remax trophies and stuff all over your house, huh?
See, that's the problem. That's the only thing we had production and so no, we loved it there. It was great for us. It just was time to sort of grow our business, and some of the opportunities we saw at EXP made it a no-brainer. But wish we did it sooner. But we were very happy at Remax. There was nothing broken. We just found something that fit us and sort of fit our goals for the next 5-10 years.
Okay. So when you were going through that discovery process about EXP, the vetting process, and you did your work, at the end of the day, what were 2 or 3 of the most compelling reasons that brought you over to EXP?
There's a couple things. I liked one of the coolest things I like about EXP is that the model works for a brand new agent that's never sold a house, and it works for a mega team like us. It has sort of a spectrum for every agent throughout the whole real estate, industry experience level. And so that was one piece. One part about Remax was we really had to stay away from talented new agents because we couldn't get them up to speed. So the training was a big piece for us. The other ways to earn income was the biggest deciding factor. But the number one thing we like now is stuff like this, right? So I'm meeting guys like yourself and learning and growing every time I have a conversation with another big team at EXP across the country. And we did not have that sharing and collaboration and sort of relationships that sort of supersede that we're, competitors or whatever. I mean, being shareholders in the same company and all sort of participating in the rev share, the amount of sharing and the level of sharing at this company has been the thing that I think has propelled us to grow so much. I mean, we did 320 million at our last year at Remax, and we'll eclipse 450 million at our first year at EXP. And I absolutely think it's learning from guys doing big things in other markets. We've implemented so many new things in the last year that we wouldn't have known about without being at this company.
That's interesting that you say that. Yeah, I mean, I've heard time and time again from other large big producers that the most compelling thing about EXP was that moving over here was actually better for their agents in terms of a bigger opportunity, more ways to earn money. Now we have healthcare, the new Express Offers iBuyer program is out of sight, really incredible. Are you guys doing anything with iBuyers? Speaking of iBuyers, they're such a hot topic. Has that ever been a part of your business, Andrew?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've actually had a buyout program that we've offered to our home builder clients for about 20 years. So our first builder client in 2000 came to us and said, Pulte Homes. They said, "Hey, I have someone that is saying if they don't sell the house, it was actually in Dallas. If they don't sell the house, they'll buy it. We want you to do it in Houston." My dad was really scared back then, didn't want to own a bunch of houses, didn't really know what he was doing on that front. But we've had a program that gives the client that safety net alternative if we're not successful in selling the house. And so I wouldn't say we're an iBuyer because we're not really doing it for profit. We're doing it to get builder referrals. But we've had a program similar to what the iBuyers are doing for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to reflect. The guaranteed sale program has been around for a long time, but only until recently was it institutionalized. And who would
Yeah.
have thought, if you fast forward 10, 15 years, that now this whole thing about the guaranteed sale would be, such an institutionalized part of the business. But it's very interesting. I think we're all curious to see how it's going to pan out. What are your thoughts on how the commercial, the big heavy duty iBuyers, do you see any seasonality in their business? What do you think is going to happen when we approach a market that's receding, kind of like my hairline? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, we have a unique knowledge of it because we've been doing this for 20 years and we've seen how hard it is to really nail down on a price in a changing market. I think with our buyout program, we lose money on it every year, and it makes sense for us. We think of it as a marketing expense because it does lead to a lot of referrals, and it leads to having a lot of builder clients for us. But just having that buyout program as a way to make money long term, I think the jury's still out. I think it's going to be tough. I think iBuyers are going to really have to go and make money doing other stuff with the data and going into title and lending and all that stuff. But purely just making money on that little small margin when the market changes, I think is going to be very tough. And it's something we haven't figured out in 20 years on what that is because the market changes. And I think the good thing about the iBuyers, they have a lot of money and they have a lot of patient money. And so, taking losses for years like they have been is okay because they're a tech company, right? So I don't have all the answers, but I think if they can figure out a way to make money doing other stuff than that small spread, I think they'll be fine. But I think the jury is still out on that.
Okay. I think we're in agreement over here on our end with
I
you for
second
sure,
that.
right,
Yep.
C3?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's shift gears a little bit, Andrew, and I kind of want to get in between that 5.5 or 6 inches between your ears. Tell me, if you could offer the audience some good books to read, what would you suggest? What are some of your top real estate or business books that you think are really important to share?
Man, I try to get my hands on anything. Right now, I'm reading "Building an Empire" by Brian Carruthers. I just looked over here, and I respect what Gary Keller's done. I love that book for a new agent, millionaire real estate agent. And so I like to get my hands on a lot of different sort of real estate books. I don't read a lot for pleasure, and so most of what I read tends to be personal development and real estate development. But those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head that I think are really good books on anyone interested in real estate.
Okay. Who are some of the thought leaders that you follow in our business?
Man, it's anyone from our sponsors into the company. I've had a great relationship with Kevin Kaufman and Fred Weaver. They're doing some great things out of Arizona. I just did a metrics training on sort of how to clean up our database and hit our database, and love those guys that are doing metrics. I can't even remember their names, 3KW guys, but I follow them a lot. So just I like to follow people that are more in the business doing it on a daily basis. Other big team leaders, I learn a lot. I've recently met Kyle Whistle and Dan Beer at a EXP conference, and some of the stuff they're doing out in California is phenomenal, and doing some masterminding with them and implementing some of the stuff they're doing. So I like these kind of conversations because I always learn something from someone doing something in their market better than we're doing in Houston.
Well, and you mentioned you attributed that collaboration to much of the reason for your huge growth in the last 14 months since you moved over here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There are so many stuff we've done in the last 12 to 14 months that we did not do well prior to that. And that was stuff where I was seeing other EXP agents that we got to meet at conferences, what they were doing, pick their brain and try to implement it. I joke, I was on a panel at EXP conference and said, in my 5 years, I did not go to one conference. When I was at Remax, nothing against them again. And so far at EXP, I'm 3 for 3 at the EXP conferences, and it's because of the relationships and the amount of sharing people have at these conferences. I mean, a lot of times I don't even attend a lot of the panels or breakout sessions. I just try to meet with other big agents and team leaders across the country that are sort of telling me what they're doing, and I'm telling them what they're doing, and we're all implementing it into our business. So I think that's a huge reason why we've gonna have a additional 100 million in volume this year.
Well, let's go a step further. Let's look out maybe how about 3 years down the road, Andrew? Now that you're here with EXP and you've got access to all these assets, what's your 3-year vision for your company? How big do you think you can grow this thing?
Man, I have that 10 million in GCI is really the biggest goal that I really track to and want to accomplish. I hope I can do it before 3 years, but we'll go just over 6 million in GCI this year. And so that is, if I hit that within 3 years, I'm a happy camper. And so I think it's possible. I think we're continuing to perfect our systems and making our agents more efficient. And we're still looking for great talent out there to get us there. With really 15 agents in production on the team, we're pretty lean, and we have a lot of agents doing 8-10 deals a month. And so I think we're going to grow talent. We're going to continue to be more efficient, and that's sort of what we're targeting is in 2 to 3 years hit that 10 million in GCI mark.
Well, that's interesting. You come from the Remax, obviously, as a franchise. And I mean, let's just be real here. Frankly, it's kind of difficult. We've all, beat our heads against the wall trying to expand into other markets. Now that you're with EXP and you've got one broker and it's set up for expansion. What do you predict? What do you foresee for your future with regard to getting into other markets?
Well, we actually do our buyout program, builder partners with the individuals in Austin and San Antonio. None of that hits our production, but we do partner with Austin, San Antonio, and actually recently just added an agent in Dallas. And so we're already doing a little bit of that. That's all of our production right now is only Houston related, but we do have another revenue stream through that. We've expanded our revenue share organization. I think we're in 10. We have agents we've partnered with in 10 different states. But as far as the Franklin team goes, man, Houston is such a big market that I think we're going to focus on us selling more homes in that market. But we do through agents in other markets, partnering with them on the EXP rev share, helping them grow their business. We're super focused on that as well.
And so Houston is a big market. When I lived down there, how many folks are down there? Is it 4 or 5 million now?
Man, I can't even keep up with all the growth. That sounds about right. So, we at our numbers, we have a small sliver of the market, and so it's continuing to grow. Builders are continuing to build and expand. I mean, I grew up in Katy in West Houston, and now they're going 10, 15 miles west of that, which was farmland back when I grew up, and so the expansion of Houston, the number of people, it's such a business friendly town that we're going to continue to try to penetrate that market. But yeah, there is a lot of people, and it's only growing.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, and you guys, it's not been easy down there. You've had a lot of natural disasters to deal with. How did that impact your business, Andrew?
If you look at, and we had a lot of speakers come in after Harvey, and if you look at the data, what happens in those natural disasters is it slows down the market for a short period of time, but then it rebounds very nicely. And that's sort of what happened after Harvey. Things definitely slowed down for a month, and then you definitely saw a little bit of a depression of prices, but things are already exceeding prices pre-Harvey. And so from that perspective, a lot of people got very affected. Our office flooded, but from a real estate perspective, things rebounded very nicely.
Okay, well, that's great. We prayed a lot for you guys down there, and have a lot of friends
Appreciate
down in
that.
the Houston area, and just are so thankful that there weren't a lot more casualties with all the flooding
Yeah.
and so forth. Andrew, our audience is replete. That's another good SAT word, Trelvis, right? Replete.
Replete,
With agents who are hungry to learn how they can accelerate their business. What's a couple of your hottest tips that you would have for new agents? What kind of advice would you offer somebody who's stuck in a rut right now, who really wants to just crush it in this business?
Man, real estate is not rocket science. I think I like to say it's an activity sport or a contact sport. And so the more you can get out there and whether it be social media or talking to people in your sphere, I mean, the basics of real estate, I think a lot of agents want a magic pill or a magic thing to do. Talk to people and build relationships, and you'll get referrals from it. I mean, we focus on that on our team a great amount, that we don't have to buy it. We buy no internet leads. Until about a year ago, we didn't do any lead generating from open houses. We were just really focused on building relationships and a great customer experience. And when you do that, you turn one transaction into three or four. And so I don't think there's any magic pill for realtors out there. I think they need to work hard and build relationships, and they'll be successful in this business. And a lot of people, I think, try to do all the magical stuff rather than just doing that.
I think you nailed it there. And I think if agents would really consider the lifetime value of a customer instead of looking at the commission check, they would have a lot more longevity in the business and make a lot more money. That's for sure. Well, Andrew, I tell you, I can't believe how time goes by when you're talking to a $450 million team producer there. C3, have you got anything for Andrew that we missed here?
Not that I can think of, man. I've just been taking it in. I get to spend a little time with you at these conferences here and there, and it's just so great to hear what you have to say, man. Just like I said, taking it all in, and the nuggets that you're dropping are just so valuable, and I appreciate you being on the show today.
Yeah, we're gonna get a golf round out there. I hear C3 is a ex-college golfer, and I'm a high 90s, low hundreds golfer. So we'll talk about more real estate on the golf course soon, buddy.
I'll make that. That sounds like a great deal. We'll do a little swap there.
Yeah, he's got some stick, as we say, Andrew, right? Yep. Well, you just got back from Pinehurst, so you must not be a slouch. If you broke 100 at Pinehurst, you're a pretty good player yourself.
Oh, I would say very mediocre, but I had a really good caddy that day and a couple beers.
A couple of beers. All right, before I let you go, I want to do one thing, Andrew. I want to ask you, if you would, to share something with our audience that hardly anybody knows about you. Just one thing. What is it?
One thing that nobody knows about me. That's a tough one. I'll share one. A lot of people do know this because I posted about it, but in high school, when in my basketball playing days, I had cornrows that I busted out. I had long hair and I had cornrows, and so out of all the posts I've made in the last year, that was the one that went most viral. So if you haven't seen it, I'll send it over to you.
Please send
Is
it.
is it on your
please.
timeline? We'll go find
Can we
it.
pull it up right now and show the audience?
It is, but these days I'm posting a lot more, so it might be a little bit deep in the archives.
Okay,
Sweet.
all right, super. Hey, if anybody in our audience wanted to get a hold of you, Andrew, I know you're very very busy, but you're also very generous. How would somebody go about finding you if they had questions about your team
Yeah.
or EXP or anything like that?
Yeah, so Facebook is a good way. Message me on Facebook. Just find me by my name or our website. You can find me on there, thefranklinteaminc.com, and our main number, which my staff can get a hold of me very quickly, 281-347-2200. All those ways, very responsive and glad to chat with anyone if I can be helpful.
Well, that's super. I appreciate it. Thank you again, Andrew, for being here. It's an honor and a pleasure for us to have you on the show. The #1 team just got the award at EXPCon in last month, and we're so excited to be in business with you together, and we'll look forward to the next time that we get to hang out. And audience, we're going to take a week off next week, right? C3, we're going to be out.
We're going to do a little turkey.
We're going to be chowing on some turkey and watching a little Cowboys turkey football. I guess, Travis, the Cowboys are playing Turkey Day, aren't they?
I believe so. I think they're playing Buffalo on Turkey
That's
Day.
right. That's right at 3:30. I know
Yes,
because we
sir.
got early reservations for lunch. But Andrew, it's so great to see you. I wish you guys all the best down there in Houston. I can't wait to see you in Orlando in April. Are you going to Mexico? Will you be in Mexico with us in February?
Yeah, I think I'm going to make that trip. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay,
So
great.
I'll see you fellas. I appreciate the time and including me on this great show. And, you guys have a happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, appreciate it. You
Thank
too,
you.
man. All the best to all your family. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Don't forget, every Thursday, 1:15 Central Time, right here. Same place, same station. It's my Facebook Live, right? So it's on my timeline. We see you guys, and we try to deliver the best in real estate, the best tips, tricks, and things to help you accelerate your career. You guys have an awesome Thanksgiving, and may God bless all of you. Thank you.